and welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ron, your host, and I thought we'd go ahead and start this week with a little film. We're taking a look at another sports film. This was released in 2008, and I've seen this. This is my third watch, but I haven't covered it for the channel. And that movie is Dennis Quaid, Rob Brown, directed by Gary Fedler. I hope I'm probably butchering that name wrong. The Express, or The Express, the Ernie Davis story. We're just going to call it The Express, just because that's how it's titled in the film. It says on the back of the Blu-ray, and says it in the film when you start the movie. So, The Express, if you're not familiar with The Express, and if you know sports history, it's basically the story of the first African-American football player to win the Heisman Trophy. So, yeah, that's essentially what The Express is. So, it follows Ernie Davis's rise to, not really rise, but it shows his whole life from when he was a kid. So, yeah, from when he was a child, all the way probably till he got to the University of Syracuse. So, in the beginning of the film, basically it starts with, we start out with the Cotton Bowl against the University of Texas. That's a little tease at the beginning. Cutting out to 1949, and we see Ernie as a young man who's with his buddy, and he gets surrounded by a bunch of bullies, 8 bullies in total, that are just like, they're like these like bullies from the South. So he stutters, and then he's all of a sudden they go collecting bottles. They go collect bottles to, I think, to make money. They don't explain in the movie. So the two of them are surrounded by these bullies, and the one kid, he chickens out and he finds a train. He tells Ernie to go, but he stands up and he's tough and is like, starts like, no. And then all of a sudden they're like get on him. They use ethnic slurs, and all of a sudden he just starts running. Tackles in front of him. I don't know why I did that, but he literally tackles in front of the kid, knowing that he can run. So he realized that he doesn't discover football just yet. He runs, and then after he runs, he meets up with his friend, and he's got the bottle. So then we get to him at the household with his mother and grandfather. The grandfather is teaching him. They're happy they get dessert, but they have to do a Bible lesson. So Ernie has to read a Bible verse, and then all of a sudden it's like, he sort of stutters. I thought he had dyslexia, or I thought he was like special needs. So, yeah. Oh, did I mention that the young man who plays young Ernie Davis also played the young Nathaniel in The Soloists, a movie that made on my best list. So, he's like this kind, like, really nice young man. So, they're moving to New York, and basically they now go to New York. They're driving around, and he sees football tryouts and realizes, I'm going to try out for football. He doesn't say it like that, but he wants to go out for football. So he makes the team, but realizes the coach doesn't have enough jerseys. I don't know why, but that's okay, boys. You can just play without him. So he gets out there. Now we cut to the 1950s when Ernie Davis is in high school. He's played by Rob Brown. So he's a senior in high school, and he meets up with the coach Ben Schwartzka. I'm probably butchering that name wrong. And he's played by Dennis Quaid. Now, I covered 2 movies with Dennis Quaid on the channel. Dragonheart and American Dreams. And between those 2 roles, I really think he's great in this role. So now he decides he doesn't know where to go. So he meets up Jim Brown. He meets up with Jim Brown, he's getting ready to go to the Cleveland Browns. So basically he meets up with that. So he's like, they make Jim Brown out to be a nice guy, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Jim Brown was not a nice guy. He was just cocky, and he later in lifetime he became a civil rights activist. So yeah, and essentially that's really what the Jim Brown character is. but they make him out to be nice. And he was also a lacrosse player. So now he's in the university, and they're getting ready to practice and opening the season with Boston College. Actually, it's Kansas, but they mentioned about Boston College being their first home game. So yeah, that's like that. So now we get that. So then we realize he's now on the team, and they start liking him and appreciate him as a football player. Not just a football player, but a very nice human being. He later meets up with Jack Buckley, played by Omar Benson Miller. He plays Jack Buckley, which actually that's wrong. It's John Brown is what this is based off of, that character. So yeah, that's really the gist of it though. Then we see him in the games, and basically that's really the gist of what The Express is. I don't want to give away too much of the movie. You just have to watch it. But a great movie, a phenomenal movie, one of the best. It's one of the best sports movies. It's definitely a good look at sports history. But yeah, and then essentially, yeah, it's very tragic what happens at the end. And though while he was at practice, he realized he gets these nosebleeds, and he realized, if you know the whole story about what happened to Ernie Davis, you'll know what it is. I don't really give away the movie, but it's already pretty much given away. So yeah, it's crazy. So they get up to the University of Texas for the Cotton Bowl, but I'm not going to tell you everything. But yeah, I'm just going to stop there. So the movie was actually shot on location in Syracuse. Though at the end of the film, the game with Syracuse versus West Virginia was actually fictionalized. So yeah, that's very fictionalized. But despite of that, it's a great movie. It's awesome. Rob Brown's fantastic. Rob Brown looks like Ernie Davis. There's one scene near the end where they get to the Heisman Awards, and he meets up with President Kennedy. So he meets up with him, and then it's interesting. They put the actor next to Kennedy. The director said in the commentary that he was inspired by the movie JFK to have real and fictional sandwiched together. The black and white scenes, the football scenes are incredible. Like, they're great. Like, they're like bone crunching. I did watch the Blu-ray, and the audio, I gotta say, is great on this. So, also, I normally haven't shown disc designs, but I gotta show you what I love about these early Blu-rays is you get some disc art. I'm not gonna show this often, but I love these old Blu-rays that have the disc, the Blu-ray banner like in a curve. I love those releases, and I think Universal was the first to do that. So yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. It's a great sports movie. But like I said, the performances are great from Rob Brown. Omar Benson Miller's great. I forgot Clancy Brown. Yes, Mr. Krabs appears as one of the assistant coaches. The guy from the first Major League appears in it. The cast is great. In fact, most of their extras are actually students at the university. So that's pretty cool, though. That is just, I think is just awesome. So, yeah, my only real complaint is that some of it feels fictionalized. It does feel sort of Hollywood. And one character, they altered the name. But that's really about it with the film. This is actually my third viewing, and I still think it holds up. Like I said, it's tragic. Yeah, so sadly, at the very end, this is not giving away the movie. If you know the story of Ernie Davis, he sadly passed on in 1963 of leukemia. He's one of the first people to ever pass on of this disease. And he gets thinking it's from a football tackle, but turns out no, it's the cancer coming. So he does talk about it. So I don't want to give away much. I'm sure everybody's probably knows the story, but it's sad what happened. And yeah, and he knows it the second time when he's with his girlfriend, and then all of a sudden blood like comes down her stomach, And then he panics and runs to the bathroom thinking it's just a football tackle. Thinks it's just a tackle or something like that. But I think I already mentioned most of it about this movie. Charles S. Dutton plays his grandfather. He's good at it, though. It's sad what happened. It's very tragic, and there's been times I almost was in tears. This also deals with the civil rights and Jim Crow and all that stuff before that became the biggest thing. The 50s and 60s was just such a weird time. So that's all I'm going to explain about The Express. Like I said, it's a great movie. So yeah, I'm going to give The Express a 4 out of 5. This would have easily got a 5 out of 5 had there been mostly true. Even though it says inspired by real events, the cover says inspired by real events. The movie says based on a true story. I don't know what it's trying to be, so that's why I would give it that rating. But yeah. So like I said, it's a masterpiece. It's one of the best football movies. If you're really into sports history and you want to know more about this football player, give The Express a watch. Don't miss this movie. It's great, and I love it, and it's great. So that's all I'm going to say about The Express. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like the content of the channel, you can like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, so you get all notifications. I'm on Letterboxd. Let me know what you guys think of The Express. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm going to recommend it. It's a good sports movie. So yeah, and I'm going to say a good night, and yeah. And as always, keep watching those Universal movies, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.